Getting bored isn't so bad, and lots of famous people felt it too. Scientists, writers, painters, and musicians all had something in common. They got bored. Nowadays, we often put away our phones and spend time alone with our thoughts, which can be a strong force that can change our lives. A long time ago, in 1665, Isaac Newton was bored while looking at a fruit tree in his garden. This boredom made his brain super smart and changed how we understand physics today. But now, people don't often look outside at the sky when they're bored. Instead, we reach for our phones. A study at a place called the University of Virginia found that 20% of students didn't like spending just 15 minutes in an empty room thinking. After a big sickness happened in London in 1665, Newton, who was just a regular person, left the city and went to live in the countryside. He spent 2 years alone, letting his thoughts flow instead of running away from them. His boredom changed humanity a lot, and we can't forget how important it was, especially for the time when people had big ideas, like when the apple fell. A psychologist named Sandy Mann from a place called the University of Central Lincolnshire says that when we let our minds wander while we're bored, we start thinking without even realizing it. This is called the brain going into default mode. It's when our minds put together different information, solve important problems, and make personal goals. On average, people check their phones 344 times a day, spending 1/3 of their waking hours on them. But if we understand the power of being bored and use it to make our lives better, we can learn to enjoy being alone and appreciate the strength of boredom. Most of the times, spending too much time with phones and technology can make our brains feel a bit stuck. It's like being in a loop where our minds are always busy, and that can stop us from being super creative. Research tells us that when we're not doing anything and just thinking about our plans and dreams, that's when we're a bit bored. But being a little bored is actually good for our brains because it helps us be really clever and creative.